Chapter 8. I made it off the streets and back into the woods so the patrols and scavengers wouldn't spot me out in the open. I couldn't think of a single way to get back into the Sea Ward without getting spotted, chased, and shot at for not cooperating with them. I started feeling trapped and helpless, but this was it. I had to make it through or all hope was lost for Trader's mission. This was not easy and this was not fun. The only way was the bridge, and I was gonna have to pull up and improvise my way through. Not to also mention the sun was setting before my eyes, and I could hear the creatures getting rowdy around me. So I packed up and started moving towards the bridge. When I arrived near close to the entrance, I hid on the edge of the bushes where they couldn't see me and watched for an opening to slide past, but it wasn't possible. There were about 15 heavily armed guards controlling the traffic and running the general's shakedown, an ID operation. I waited for hours and found no sign of any exit. Just when I was about to turn back, I heard a rumbling coming from the water. I thought it was fungus appearing again to overtake the bridge, but it wasn't. It was a large group of mutated lizards standing tall and bigger than I'd ever seen before. The people crossing the bridge started panicking and scrambling while the lizards looked for easy prey. The patrolmen were shocked for a minute until the head commander came out and ordered an attack immediately. The men on guard had never been in a fight before from the looks of it, because one by one they missed their shots and went down, but the commander kept morals high. Now it was my time to move through the madness and look for an opening to get out of the R ward for good. I swept out of the bushes and onto my board, then I made it through about halfway across the bridge until one of the lizards spotted me and started chasing after me. It was as fast as my board at the time, and it lunged its sharp claws at me, and just when I thought it was over, a bullet flew through the skull of the lizard. The commander was holding some type of new long rifle and told me to run while the lizard's numbers were still increasing around the men, and sadly enough, I followed his orders and fled off the bridge as fast as I could. Not to mention, the upgrades were kicking in and I was flying across the road faster than ever before. I couldn't believe I was still alive. It was almost too good to be true, and thinking of all the people those lizards took down, it really was. The sun was almost down, and I was moving faster than ever before. I was almost back to my base, and I still couldn't believe it. Every day I go out into the new Earth, it just seems to get harder to understand how exactly I made it this far. Everyone that survived as long as me never goes outside or sees the daylight. It's hard to say whose survival methods are better depending on how you look at it. But finally I reached my base and swiftly went inside and kicked back into my chair with my feet up. The pain I felt from the battle the day before was still really strong and getting to me, so I took some meds and watched some TV for as long as I could till I fell asleep. And later on, I woke back up in the middle of the night and whipped up some food to stop my stomach from growling. It was a good night, but what I know is that the stability of the world was limited, the mutations overall were getting worse beyond our imagination, and the movie I was watching was so dull, I fell back asleep again. Surely I dreamed for a bit, but I couldn't wait till morning because the sound of the animals howling and fighting only made things harder for me to sleep, because I always tried not to sleep deep in case anything goes on while I'm lacking in the moment of rest. I love rest.